Okay, so I thought I'd do a little bit of a overview / review video here of the new Losi Mini B and Mini JRx2 buggies. I know there are videos already out there that talk about these, but I just want to go over my personal experiences with these so far, and why I bought them and how I like them. So, start with the Mini B. I bought this for my son, who is about the age where, I would start getting him into RC, and he's like, he can start using a transmitter and, start kind of learning how to control a radio controlled car. And I thought this would be a really good way to get him started, because it's quite literally an exact clone of the Losi 22 mid-motor buggy. It's all the same suspension geometry, steering geometry, linkages, everything. It's all there, right? The ball studs can be adjusted to different mounting positions. The shocks can be adjusted. Everything is, it's quite literally a 1/16th version of their 1/10 scale buggy. So I thought that's cool, because this is small enough that he could use it in our house. And so he could drive it around the living room. He could set up little jumps, and just sort of get used to controlling the car. And I don't have to take him to a track or take him outside to use one of my 1/10 scale buggies or trucks. This is something he could do year-round, winter, summer, rain, snow, whatever, inside. So I thought that was a really appealing reason to get this. The other is, quite simply, it's really good value. You could get this with different systems. You can get it with a brushless system or a brushed system. The DC brushed motor system here is more than adequate for playing around, especially inside, and it's cheaper. It's about $150, I think, for this unit, completely ready to run. Comes with, your electronics, your battery, a charger, a transmitter, all set to go. And the charger is just like a little USB charger that charges this guy, and it takes, I didn't really keep track of how long it takes to charge, but let's say, maybe half hour or so to charge the battery. That's not too bad. And you can adjust the throttle trim on this to, slow the car down a little bit to consume less current, especially if, your kid is just learning how to use the car and you don't want them to go too fast. So you can do that. If I remember correctly, the transmitter for this does not have exactly a throttle endpoint adjustment, but there is a throttle trim adjustment. So you're kind of changing the neutral point of the throttle, which by default sort of gives you a throttle endpoint adjustment. These are reversible, both the JRx2 and the Mini B, so you have forward and reverse. And the tires this comes with are not these tires. It comes with BK bar tires, which are really good for like riding on asphalt or maybe dirt, but if you're inside on a hardwood floor, the BK bars, they are a little too slidey. So if you get like some carpet tires, so these are Proline carpet tires. I think both Proline and J Concepts make mounted tires for the 22, the mini buggy. And so these are Proline. I forget the exact tread design, but these are just carpet tires, and these actually work really well on hardwood floors. You get pretty good grip. So my son has been using this almost every day since I bought it for him, which I think says a lot, because he's got a lot of different things that he can play with, and sure enough, at some point every day he turns this on and plays with it. And since I bought my Mini JRx2, he's wanted to play with this even more, so then we could play together, which is a big reason why I bought this, so I can get him to use this more and learn how to be a better driver. So getting on to the JRx2, again, this is also a 1/16th clone of the actual 1/10 scale JRx2, with apparently a few little tweaks here and there, like the adjustability of the rear 5-link suspension is actually a little bit better on this than on the original, but that's a minor point. This is a little more expensive. I think it goes for about $170, at least partly because the shocks on this are aluminum shocks. On the Mini B, these are plastic body shocks, although they are more tunable because they have threaded shock bodies. This has the old style, you know, clamp shock collars at the top, so they're still tunable, but you have to be a bit more precise with how you place them. This buggy is super cool, and it's fun to drive. It handles just fine, you know, even on an indoor hardwood floor, no problems. And it comes with all the same electronics, just mounted in a mini JRx2. Both of these are really fun, and I do have a lot of fun with them. And what I really like about these is that they're exact clones. They're just miniaturized versions of the 10th scale hardcore buggies. So you get to see, especially if you're a kid and you're you're just learning about radio control cars, you get to actually see all the real components, the arms, the linkages, even the gearbox. You can take the gearbox apart if you want. Like, everything is there. It's just miniaturized. And, you know, going back to when I was a kid in the 1980s, we didn't have anything even close to this, right? At this scale, you'd have like the Nico and Tyco cars, which were sort of toy grade rather than hobby grade, and they didn't have this kind of granularity of detail for the chassis, right? It was much simpler. So I really like that they've done this. You know, hats off to Losi. I think they did a fantastic job with these. My only gripe, and this is kind of a minor one, is with the body clips. Because these are smaller cars with smaller bodies, the body clips you use to mount them are also smaller. Now, it's less of an issue with the Mini B, so this sort of nose piece kind of slots through the front tower here, which is a little tricky to do, but not a big deal. And then you know, mount the body, and then there's a post right here. Where is it? This post right here, right over the waterfall, where you mount the little E-clip. Now that, sorry, not E-clip, body clip. And that body clip is, it's actually about the same size as those little black body clips you get in Tamiya kits. So it's actually fairly manageable. But again, for a kid, it can be kind of difficult. So what I just did is I just put Velcro on the sidewalls of the chassis and on the inside of the body, so that way he doesn't have to fiddle around with his body clip as he's turning the car on and off, because you plug the battery in, you know, you turn the transmitter on, you turn the receiver speed control unit on, it's an integrated unit, and then you put the body on, and then you can run the car. And you know, he sometimes gets a little flustered because, like, transmitter's on and the car is on, and he's still trying to mount the body and get the body clip on, and he's worried about draining the battery, even though it's not going to drain just by being on. But he gets a little anxious with that sometimes. So just use some Velcro on this and it's totally fine. With the Mini JRx2, it's more difficult. The reason for that is because, for one thing, the Mini B only uses one body clip right here. The Mini JRx2 has 4 body clips, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you have 2 that go through the front and rear towers, and then over the 5-link suspension, there's like this little thing here. It's not a hole, it's more like a little collar with a little indentation in it, where the body clip kind of clips around that sort of pillar or collar piece. And so you do that on either side. Now, the problem here is, okay, you have more body clips, but also those clips are smaller. They're smaller than the one that goes on this. And with my hands, it's very hard to get those body clips in, really with anyone's hands. Also, when you're trying to put the body clips on these side pieces here, because of the way that the body clip bends and the way you have to put pressure on it to push it in to clip, a lot of times it'll just sort of fling off to the side. The rear shock tower, the way the body actually clears this little post, it only just barely clears for you to get the clip in there. And on the front tower, you kind of sort of like press on the body a little bit to get it to clear. And as you can see, you know, the clip does scratch the decals a bit in that region. So there's already a little bit of wear on the decals near the body mount openings. So what I did, I just took some Lexan and I made some little L pieces here, some Lexan L brackets on either side, double-sided tape to mount these to the flat chassis, because this is a conventional, you know, old school style chassis, there's no sidewall to the chassis. So you got to make your own sidewall, then put Velcro on the side, and then I can mount the body that way without having to worry about using clips. That works okay. You know, clearly, because the Mini B has an entire sidewall here, I have a lot more surface area to put Velcro. I don't really have that here, unless I made like another L bracket over here, so I have, you know, another Velcro piece here or something that I can use to really help secure the body down. But just one of these on either side, you know, right in front of the 5-link suspension post thing, whatever this is called. That's kind of enough, and the body will sort of hold. You know, it holds fine enough. Yeah, so that's kind of it. Again, I really like these. I'm really happy that Losi decided to do this. The only other sort of mini, so to speak, mini models that I would consider buying would be the Kyosho Mini Z crawlers. Those also have a really nice scale look, you know, a more like an accurately depicted drivetrain and suspension. Those are really neat. These are better value. You know, they're less expensive and they're a bit bigger. They're a bit more robust, and you could take them racing. There are actually racing classes for these now, which is really cool. You know, there's other mini, so to speak, like short course and mini trucks made by different manufacturers, and I just don't think they're that good because they're not really radio controlled cars. They're just cheap crap from China, and you know, they're very like toy grade kinds of chassis, and they're just not, I don't know, they're not worth it to me. But this is really cool because it can introduce kids to actual RC components, you know, at a scale that's more appropriate for them, given their smaller size, and I think they can have a lot of fun with it. I'm having a lot of fun with it so far, so thank you, Losi. And that's it for now. Thanks for watching.